The challenges, the mountains that people with disabilities meet are so huge in developing countries like this one. And if you falter within your heart, then you are already finished. It's a challenge, and I want to, through you, to speak to the rest of the people with disabilities in the country that the secret is in your heart. If your heart is determined to forge ahead, you can do greater things that no one has ever believed before.
There are several other people living with disabilities who have chosen never to place this in their abilities, as well as some who have chosen not to glorify disabilities in people living with them.
I got sick. So I remember that I became sick. Then from that sickness, I was learning, but my education wasn't all that high. The reason is the teacher was very poor in signing. He wasn't proficient. And that's how in grade 9, then my results were not all that good. That's what I can say about my education, but I'm intelligent. Then I know I can do better. And then I completed my grade 12. But now my results were pathetic. Didn't get good results. Then I tried to go to college. Tried to go to college so that I can train on how to become a chef. So then I was in the same class with the hearing people, and now unfortunately there was no one who knew sign language. But I was trying to sit near the teacher so that I could speech read. So whenever the teacher is saying, so I used to have that eye contact with the teacher. Then at last I had better results and came to Lusaka, and I was seeking for employment. But that was a challenge. It was extremely hard. Because many people saying that a person with a disability is not a material to be employed. So when I applied for a job, people used to say, if we give you employment, then how are you going to perform? And then I continued to try to see what I can do, but nothing came up for myself. So I used just to stay home. Yeah, I stayed for a year without work. Till one time I met a deaf colleague who told me that if I can go to Pick and Pay and applied for a job, then I'll be able to be employed. I applied, but it took quite some time for them to respond. So when I went to find out, when I made a follow-up, they said, no, we did not receive your application letter. Then they told me to repeat, rather to write the next application letter. So then I thought that I just wasted my time. So till I met the human resource. So she was very kind. And my application was considered. So after 3 months, I was called for an interview. That was a challenge as well during the interview, because I was given a test to write as part of the interview. And if at all I failed, then I was not going to be employed. But I tried my level best, and I pulled through. That is how I got employed at Pick and Pay. Yeah, so right now I'm working with Pick and Pay. Even with my other 4 colleagues, they are also deaf. So we work in different departments right there at Pick and Pay. And we really enjoy our work experience, because Pick and Pay is a conducive place. So even us as deaf people, we believe that it's only Pick and Pay that has come on board to employ us deaf people, because they are really kind. That's how we consider Pick and Pay. So we are really enjoying our full rights as we work with Pick and Pay. They have a good heart for the deaf people. But sometimes we do face challenges. So whenever we have a challenge, we try to sit together and then sort out such a one. Yeah, so that we can help each other.
I've got a condition called retinitis pigmentosa. It's a condition that you have a darkening on the retina of the eye, and it's a progressive condition. You're born with it, and I saw almost all the eye specialists in Zambia. First of all, grade 8, 9, I did at a normal school, so-called normal school. From there, went to Munali because of the situation that I had with my eyes. I could not read from these 3 meters, so I was always kept in front. Every time teacher would always, you cannot see, go in front. If you had to look at my eyes, very few can notice that I've got this eye problem. And wherever I used to go, wherever I go, maybe I would bump into someone. Who? You, what's wrong with you? Can't you see? Yeah, such things. The things we talked about, stigma and what have you. I didn't want to become a teacher. I was so determined to say that besides my big problem of not seeing so well, I want to do what I want. I believe as a visually impaired person, I can do it, and just like anyone else can do it. We're talking about disability, and I believe the media is a source of either building or destroying. The picture that you portray about a human being, or about society, or even a given situation, people will take it like that and they'll start believing you. If you want to portray a bad picture of a person who's disabled, like I am, to say, they're always on the streets. Oh, in Zambia, in Lusaka, the streets of Lusaka, it's crowded, and there are people who are disabled, always begging. That's the message which people will carry along. After I left Lake Road, the Ministry of Education had restructured, and I applied for a position as a producer in charge of materials production, learning at Taunga Market, that program which comes on ZNBC, which used to come. I played a major role. All the music that is there, writing scripts, production, behind the studio, it was me. And I'm in charge of that. Eastern Province, now there is the ECCDE, that is Early Childhood Care and Development Program, which is running the production of those programs. That's under my care. So I believe in a little way I've contributed to educating more than 10,000 OVCs, that is orphans and vulnerable children, who are accessing education through other alternative means. So what I would just want to say is that as the media, you can build the face of disability. We shouldn't diss our disability, but appreciate our disability. Look at it in a positive way.
At the age of 3 or 2, I was affected by polio and it paralyzed my right leg. When I was 22, I went to university teaching hospital for surgery, which made it possible for me to wear shoes. Otherwise, I was not wearing shoes. When I became disabled, my leg was twisted. So it was twisted so much that even what do you call them, tropical, I could not wear them. And I faced a lot of challenges on that because of I was at a boarding school. You can imagine going in the bushing block with barefooted and things like that. As a mother with disability, I deferred the odds and joined the rank and file to register for antenatal clinics, at which the doctor claimed that the person who pregnanted me was cruel because of my appearance, my disability. Little did he know how I wished for a reporter to blow it up for me, because it sounded negatively, because I'm a human being like any other person. I want to have a family of my own like any other person. But here I'm told, who is this cruel man who did this to you? When I also have the rights to have a family. At time of delivery, I was referred to a hospital 60 kilometers away, where the doctor assured me, the nurses, that I was going to deliver normally like any other person. And my firstborn was born in 1992 at the day of International Day of the Disabled. I take that day as a woman with a disability. It was just a coincidence. And then a child is born. And it was the first year when it was declared. The first clinic, I was told there is no doctor, they cannot attend to me, but I was in labor. Moved to a second clinic, which was 40 kilometers away. Again, the thing there was, the doctor was not there, so the nurses could not help me because of disability. We moved to the last hospital in that community now, where the doctor assured me I will deliver normally, everything will be fine. That's how I delivered my baby. But I thank God that, I was going to lose my baby, or I was going to lose my life. If you calculate the kilometers, 40, 60, whatever, it was 100 kilometers, looking for a hospital to go and deliver, just because of I'm disabled. At the under 5 clinic, among other mothers, the nurse addressed me as a maid. When I was addressed as a maid, she then demanded to see the mother of my baby. So I became so stubborn and they just removed my breast and started breastfeeding my baby. And he really liked milk. Oh, he grabbed the breast and he just went, That's how this nurse just looked at me and said, no, I'm sorry. But sometimes you fail to react. If you had reacted, otherwise it was going to be something else. I just pulled my temper and said, why should I worry? The baby is mine.
When offering medical services to persons with disabilities, 2 things come to our knowledge in practice. First one is visibility to the disability, and the second is communication. Some persons with disabilities have visible disabilities and are easily identified and attended to by medical personnel. For example, blind persons and physically disabled persons, sometimes they crash into long queues to be attended to. Other persons with disabilities have invisible disabilities such as the deaf, the hard of hearing, persons with learning difficulties, and the mentally impaired. It's very difficult to identify them. What happens everywhere in hospitals is as follows. At the registry, patients are given cards. They proceed to the consulting doctor's room. Outside the doctor's room, other patients persuade them to drop at the bottom of pile of outpatient attendance card or files. They are told to wait for their call. Persons with learning difficulties and the hard of hearing are able to answer the doctor's call and are attended to. But deaf persons and mentally impaired patients can't hear the doctor's call. So, they don't respond to the call. Doctors think they have left the hospital when the unprocessed cards and file are taken back to the registry. The deaf and the mentally impaired ask, "What about me?" By then, medical specialists, staff are closing their services home. The best practice we have followed at Kanyama First Level Hospital is to find and practice